Hello Smarties, Christopher from ChinaMobileMag here. Do you remember when JiaYu did launch their first phone completely made of stainless steel last year? Well, this year this phone received an upgrade and is called the JiaYu G5S. And here is the phone, and now I will tell you how good it is and if it is worth its money. Have fun watching. So let's have a quick look at the packaging of the phone. Well, this is it. It looks completely like the one of the JiaYu G5 from last year. It's white with the JiaYu logo on top and some additional information regarding the manufacturer on the rear. We can pull that open to the sides and there is not much inside actually. We just have a micro USB cable, a wall charger and another wall charger that has been placed inside of there from our sponsor. And we don't have any earphones or user manuals, just a warranty card which is placed right down below there. I won't pull all of this stuff out here. The phone of course has been removed already, so let's switch to that right. So this is the JiaYu G5S and it's looking completely like the predecessor, the JiaYu G5, except some very little changes. So let's first have a look at the front of the phone. We have the black model here, so of course the front is black as well. And here we see the phone call speaker. Next to it is a little status LED that you might not see here. We have some sensors for light and proximity and a front camera. And here below the screen are 3 soft touch buttons, one for menu, one for home and one for back. All are back illuminated and don't show any light bleeding, which I personally love. On the left side is, well, you first see the stainless steel frame of the phone, and then we have 2 buttons here, one for volume up and one for volume down. Both are made from stainless steel as well. So let's have a look at the lower side, and here we find a voice microphone, a micro USB port with OTG support and an opening for the media speaker which is placed inside the frame with this phone. Let's turn it around to the right side, and here we find a little switch that lets you pop open the rear of the phone to remove the battery and replace SIM cards and the SD card. And we find the on-off switch, which is again made from stainless steel. And on the top side we find a 3.5mm headphone jack. So let's turn it around, and here you actually see the first difference to the JiaYu G5, because the JiaYu G5 had a silver backplate made from stainless steel. This one is still made from stainless steel, but it has some black coating now. Just the JiaYu logo and the JiaYu imprint is still in silver. Now this is looking really nice, especially when light is shining on it. It has some nice optical effect. And well, here you see the rear camera, the LED flash and the microphone for the camera. And here on the bottom you see nothing because the media speaker is here on the frame. So let's quickly pop the back off. I just have to switch this switch to the side and then I can pull the back off with my fingernail. And now you look at the battery of the phone. Here is the micro SD slot. Here is the normal sized SIM slot, and here is a micro SIM slot and a little sticker saying that we have 16GB of memory and 2GB of RAM. This phone actually is not available with 32GB of internal memory. It just is available as a cheaper version with 4GB of internal memory and 1GB of RAM. So that being said, let's quickly talk about the build quality. I am still impressed with this phone. Nothing has changed towards the JiaYu G5. It's still a very nice build quality, very solid. Everything made from metal, no plastic pieces except these 2 black bars on top and bottom of the rear. So a really nice phone, and for the price this is really good. Everyone familiar with the JiaYu brand will know that this company is always using very good screens, and the JiaYu G5S is really no exception. The screen is great. It is a 4.5 inch 720p screen, and well, I have to say that with this size the low resolution is perfect, because you actually can't see any pixels with the naked eye, except you come really close to the screen. I can show you that through the camera. And also the quality of the picture is very good. Everything is sharp, it shows a lot of details, colors are perfect, contrast is perfect, brightness is perfect, except maybe when being outside it could be a little brighter then, because it's hard to see anything on the screen if the sun is shining on it. So well, that's probably the only downside of it. When looking at the viewing angles, those are pretty good as well. We just see a minor change in colors, they get a little darker and the brightness is going down. But except of that, it is really good, and you can see everything from every side. So the panel is really good. Now the JiaYu G5S has received an octa-core processor, the MTK6592, and not the quad-core processor that we found in the previous model anymore. So we expect AnTuTu scores of 27K here, but this is actually not the case, and I tell you why. JiaYu has decided to use the energy saving mode of the processor, and the user can actually not disable that, and I can show you that in the battery menu, and here you see there's no option to disable that. So as a result, the benchmark scores are a little lower, and well, it doesn't make much difference in everyday use. Actually, the operating system is buttery smooth and works actually smoother than for a lot of other MTK6592 phones, but you definitely notice the energy saving mode in games, as the frame rate always is a little bit lower than with other MTK6592 phones. But this actually doesn't make them unplayable. It is just a little bit sad that the frame rate is not as high, especially at 720p. So that being said, let's switch over to the AnTuTu benchmark finally, and I show you the score the JiaYu G5S reaches, and this is 24,923 points. And let's have a quick look into the ranking table, and here we see that the JiaYu G5S is placed between the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and the HTC One. So as you see, not that much of a difference, just a little bit. So let's have a look into 3DMark, and here the JiaYu G5S reached a score of 6,107 points in the iStorm Unlimited test, 4,057 points in the iStorm Extreme test, and 5,946 points in the normal iStorm test. And finally, let's also have a look at the Wilemo benchmark, and here the phone reached 2,513 points in the browser benchmark, 1,518 points in the multi-core test, and 839 points in the metal test. terms of multimedia, the JiaYu G5S does a pretty good job, at least in terms of HD videos. Those are played smoothly, as you can see here, and thanks to the nice screen with an amazing quality. What's not so good, however, is the internal media speaker, which I think is pretty loud and does not create scratchy noises and such stuff, but it definitely is lacking some bass playback. And, well, it's not balanced enough in my opinion. So, well, it's probably a thing of taste. Some might think it is enough, but I just don't like it that much. That being said, let's switch over to the external media playback, aka audio output of the headphone jack, and I have to say that this one is pretty powerful and loud, but also not as balanced as you would like to have it. So, well, it does a good job. It's good for listening to music, but it's not the best audio output I've ever heard in any phone. So, well, I would call it mid-range or something. But now let's switch over to some audio demo through the internal media speaker, so you can see or hear how it sounds. Have fun with that. Now let's come to the important category, reception quality, and here the JiaYu G5S gives me a mixed picture. So let's first start with 2G and 3G reception, which is working quite flawlessly despite of all the metal on this phone. So let me just quickly show you a 3G connection. And as you can see, this is established very fast. Now we have H+. So this is working perfectly. The signal strength is very good most of the time, and even in areas where the network isn't that good, it still mostly gets a signal, so that's not bad at all. And the audio quality during phone calls is also very good. You just get some noise when the signal strength is going down, but that's not much of an issue. What I didn't like, however, is Bluetooth, as this one does only get a range of 8 meters under free view, which isn't really that good because most of the phones reach 15 to 20 meters. So, well, if this is a problem or not probably depends on the usage of the phone. Also, the Wi-Fi signal is not that good as we are used to from other phones. It is very usable, no question, but when you get far away from the router you get signal losses from time to time. For example, if I leave the house, go inside the garden or something, it will break off pretty fast. Other phones still get a signal there, so that's definitely nothing that is impossible or something. It's just that the metal is probably disturbing the signal a bit. So that being said, let's switch over to GPS performance, and here I have to say that the JiaYu G5S is getting a grade F from me because it is not possible to get a GPS signal out of the box. I tried it for 1 hour and it did not find a single satellite, even though it downloaded EPO data and everything. So this has probably something to do with the software, as other people who rooted the phone told that a GPS fix definitely is possible, but the signal strength is not getting very good anyway. So even though you fix that with some software hacks, you will probably still not have a perfect GPS reception. So if you need a perfect GPS reception, you should probably stay away from this phone. let's talk about camera, and here the JiaYu G5S does a pretty good job, I have to say. It has a camera with 30 megapixels of resolution and an aperture of f2.2, and the pictures are really good. They have nice colors, a good depth of field and show a lot of details, and the camera also almost has no problems with light sources from the side or direct light sources, so this is really good. And also videos are recorded in a pretty good quality, with a good audio quality as well, and they are very smooth, so that's very nice. And something that I also like is that the internal LED flash actually is usable. It can easily light up mid-sized rooms without any issue. So now let's come to the parts I don't like about the camera, and that's the noise. Pictures always have a decent degree of noise inside of them, even with perfect lighting conditions. Well, this is nothing that is really bad or makes pictures unusable when you have good lighting conditions, but when it is getting darker you definitely notice the noise a lot, and then it will start to disturb the pictures, and well, it's not looking good anymore then. Regarding the front camera, I have to say that it is a 3 megapixel unit, so well, you can't expect that much from it, but it's still usable for phone calls or for video calls, and of course for quick emergency selfies in case you really need to do one right away. So did you see the milliamps imprint on the battery when I pulled the rear off in the beginning of the video? Well, it showed 2000 milliamps, and everyone familiar with Chinese phones knows a MTK6592 processor cannot really reach a good battery life with a 2000 milliamps battery. But actually the JiaYu G5S did surprise me here, because the battery life actually is really good, and this is probably caused by the smaller 4.5-inch screen and the energy saving mode that is enabled with the processor. So in the result you get around 1.5 days of battery life under normal usage. If you play games from time to time or use it a lot, you might get a day or a little bit less than a day, but it's still perfectly usable, and I think the battery life is very good for such a phone. And the battery is charged in around 1 hour. So here's my final conclusion for the JiaYu G5S. It's probably not the best phone for everyone, and it is again a thing of taste or a thing of what you need in a phone. So let me tell you again about the pros and cons. Let's first start with the pros. We have a great design and a solid build quality. We have a pretty good screen, we have a good rear camera, we have a good 2G and 3G reception and acceptable Wi-Fi reception. We have a good performance, even though the energy saving mode is disabled. At least for the operating system the performance is very good. And yeah, the battery life is also very good. So the only real downsides probably for some are the persistent energy saving mode and the non-working GPS reception. So if you can live without GPS and this limited performance, this might well be the phone that you will love. And of course, if you are a fan of phones with smaller screens and not of those with large screens of 5-inch and above. So that being said, this phone is priced at $240 at the moment. Well, you have to check out some shops and see if you find it anywhere cheaper. There are lots of different prices out there, so just have a look. Well, that's it for the review. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Trading Shenzhen for sponsoring this phone to us. And well, if you liked the video, please give a thumbs up, a comment, or maybe subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, bye, and see you soon with new reviews.